the new age of communication, we realize that we need to communicate to all the people as to what the world is all about and what is really happening. And it's always interesting and challenging as to not only what I have to say or we have to say, but what actually is really the interaction between two of us. So rather than me only speaking, I would also appreciate there should be more interaction between us in order to be able to actually do it too. The most beautiful part of the story is the story of India. The story of India last year grew at 7.2% GDP growth, which is the fastest growing nation in the entire world. And we are that country. Real estate grew at 10% GDP growth. Sorry, not GDP growth, but growth. So last year, in spite of all the other growth years, real estate grew at 10%. I had attended a CRISIL conference about a month ago, and there were estimates as to what the growth is going to be in the next 1 year. And the pitch has come out to be that real estate will grow 12% over last year. So that's the kind of growth that we are going to see in the overall real estate story. The other aspect of it is the question of consolidation. Consolidation is also taking place. The tier 1 cities in the country will grow faster than the rest of the country. So that's another aspect of it which is there. So cities, whether they are Mumbai, Delhi, Chennai, Bangalore, all these cities are predicted to grow at a faster rate today. The benefit of that is the fact that GDP growth in these areas are a multiplier factor, and the investment per rupee that comes out is higher in terms of returns as well as employment. That is the answer to the city. We have also known that real estate has several multiplier effects. The first multiplier effect is the contribution of building materials that come into it. We directly use 260 industries, starting from cement, steel, paints, flooring, electrical, wiring, lifts, pumps, you name it, we are into that area. We are also the second largest employer after agriculture, and that is very, very important to do it. What is the only negative factor as far as India is concerned is the fact that we are today, 2025, 25 million workers short, skilled workers short. In spite of the fact that the construction industry is going so fast, a company called L&T, the CEO of L&T mentioned 2 months ago that that company is 25,000 skilled workers short today. And this is in spite of the fact that L&T has the largest number of skilling centers for construction workers in India. So while the construction industry is extremely doing well, we are going to be challenged. What's the other story? The other story is that China, which is now growing at 4%, grew at 10% plus and beat the rest of the world in those years where the focus was housing and infrastructure. Manufacturing, of course, grew, but the employment which took place, real growth of employment took place because real estate and infrastructure. So there were roads, highways, airports, ports, multimodal transport, airlines, bullet trains, all these factors on one hand. Housing, collateral, of course industry grew, but this is it. Why am I saying all this? I'm saying this is because if India has to grow to create that exponential reach, which is according to me at least a double-digit GDP growth, we will have to do much more of infra and housing than we have done in the past, if you want to achieve that. Number two, if you want to eliminate unemployment in the country, it cannot be any other line. You can't only invest in agriculture or manufacturing, because manufacturing is getting automated to a great extent. You have to focus on those which create employment. Three sectors are important: infrastructure, housing, and tourism. All these sectors have a multiplier effect which is far bigger than any other place. We need to do, because we can't create that divide where GDP growth is there but employment is not there. That's dangerous for any country. You've seen it, what's happened in Nepal very recently. So we need to focus on all the three to do it. So real estate is something that we cherish in terms of what the growth is going to be there. What is the factor that the federal system has helped us to be? What do I mean by that? That each state is today competing with each other to draw industry into their state, to create IT, to create employment, to create that type of GDP growth which will bring prosperity to their state and to the country and to the people of their state. This is where Tamil Nadu has done an excellent job. A large amount of industry has come to Tamil Nadu. The factor that companies like mobiles, Foxconn, etc., companies which are automobiles, EV manufacturing, other segments, have set up a large industrial base, and the state has continued to give a fillip to this particular industrial base that is created. These industrial base cannot work in isolation. You need to create employment, but you need to create the people's base also. खाली factory नहीं बना सकते. You cannot just make factories. You need people. You need people who are technically qualified. You need people who are managerially qualified. You need people who are workmen on the force, and you need to do this. In the good old days, factories were always far away from where people stayed, including workers. That's changed. In China, the workers stay factory like this. Your factory, your ghar. You bring material by this and men from this store. That's the change which is taking place. So today, what are we doing? We are trying to see that industrial bases, warehousing, industrial townships, and quality of life needs to be uplifted together. This is what we are doing at Oregon. And how is that being done? By creating holistic townships which match with the rest of the thing. So what do? We create the highest end housing where the most of senior people will live. We create the mid-level housing where the mid-level people will live. And we create workers' housing also, which is there. So different people want different demands. We have two schools. The schools where the labor want to send their children and the rest of them who want to sell. So you have two CBSE schools pitched at different levels depending on how people look and have an outlook to what you want to do. So when we look at our project Hiranandani Parks, it enjoys all these components put together. So from a temple to a Kalyan Mandapam, to the best clubhouse, to a golf course, to buying the minimum ingredients to making plots, to creating villas, to creating high-end apartments, to creating mid-scale apartments, and to create all sorts of sports activities, whether it is badminton, squash, swimming, badminton, all these activities, plus golf course, all this smashes into one composite thing, plus retail shopping. Of course, you need a hospital, so we give you a hospital. That is a complete township by itself, and that is what Hiranandani Parks is about. And take it to the next level in order to see that one more thing in terms of the totality that we need to bring to the table will be complete and completed. Is this the end of the story? No. This is a story of continuing needs that I do believe as Hiranandani Group, that we continue to fulfill whatever is required where we think that any person, whether he's the smallest sector of society or the topmost sector of the society, of every element, he's a human being. And when we make projects, we need to cater for differential people who will have and be able to take care of the needs in towns. GTP has also the experience of luxury living, and they understand what is luxury in terms of offering that we need to do to the community. And that is why they have an affinity to create the top of the line product that is there, and it fits into our thought and process of quality buildings that we need to do. So we are working together, and that is why today I was happy to come over here and associate with GTP to say, how do we do this collaboration? You're aware that Hiranandani groups have been collaborating in the past. We have a platform of green base along with Blackstone, where we do industrial and commercial, and we have done more than 80 acres. 80 acres? 175 acres of a platform along with Blackstone, which is called Green Base, which does industrial parks and warehousing that is there. And that's been one of our most successful projects at Aurobindo. We can share the details also with you in respect of the kind of success or super success that we have been able to do in that direction and time.
It is extremely proud moment standing here and signing and joining hands with Hiranandani Group. For me personally, Niranjan sir, you are Amitabh Bachchan of real estate industry. I love the way you work. I've been to all your development, be it Powai or Chennai. The way you have developed all the community, it is my wish list that one day I want to live in Hiranandani community. So this is straight from heart, and yes, definitely it is a proud moment, and thank you for choosing us, and the kind of work what we are doing. One thing I can assure, will not let you down. We'll be always proud of us and of this sign. Thank you.
So since all of us spoke about the partnership and other things, I would more touch upon the development which is coming in. See, Elements Senior Living as an offering is available in more than 6 communities, 3 operational communities, and whatever we are signing the 7th. As we talk, the 6th community will be getting launched in a week or 2. This is also in a similar micro market in Valanpuram, which is closer to Sri Perumbudur, which is around 7.5 acres, which we have taken, and it will be done in phases. So one of the things which everybody is talking about senior living is a blooming market, and the silver market of India is growing because of the aging population and other things. we started looking from what are all the challenges we should address to make sure this community and this market is going to grow. Right? Even though we are doing real estate, a senior living community is not selling of real estate, it is selling of services. So our focus has to be in services, our focus has to be in addressing the issues what people have that age. So when it comes to quality of service, everybody is going to claim we are at the top of the line. I don't think we can argue about it because everybody is striving hard to make sure the quality is best. So what is going to be the differentiator? So one of the key thought process from elements as a senior living community is, right, we want to understand the cost of living of the people. How do we manage the cost of living of the people, right? How do we manage the real estate asset? So say people are coming at 55, 60 and say if they want to transition out of the senior living or something untoward happens, how do we manage the asset post? And because most of the children are living abroad or they won't be able to manage the assets. So we started looking at all the problem areas. So we came out with a sale forward agreement where we helped them within a 6 months period to sell the asset and hand over the proceeding to their children's, right? So even from the maintenance perspective, so there are various thought process we have applied. We have brought in technology to the core. Say even for cleaning, we have started putting up a lot of robots in place which clean the common area. So the maintenance can come down drastically. So how we can reduce the cost of power? How do we reduce the cooking cost? So there are a lot of things which we are working on because today a senior living community, a maintenance cost is somewhere between 30 to 15 rupees if I have to provide a quality service. But a 13 to 15 rupees for a 60-year-old retired person becomes tough to handle, so which becomes as a very, very niche segment. So hardly a 0.1 to 0.2% of the entire population goes to the senior living because of the cost. So our entire vision is how do we make senior living at the highest quality, at the same time it is not so expensive. So how do I make a lot of things as pay-per-use instead of making it mandatory? So how do I make the senior living community maintenance come down to 7-8 rupees, which is a norm for any luxury community. So this has been our mantra, and our entire team, Ashwin, Sri Kumar and all our senior living directors have been completely focusing on this to get this happen. And I think in the next community we are reaching close to 8 rupee 50 paise to 9 rupee, and in our community we are hoping we should be touching the 750 to 8 rupee magic mark. So this is something which we are extremely focused on getting it to make it viable. The second important vision from Element Senior Living, which we have been talking to Sridhar also, right? So one of the key challenges in the senior living industry is people don't want to buy senior living because they believe at the fag end of the life, why should I invest in senior living? So as we progress, we want to create the lease market in senior living in India. So as of today, senior living is a primarily sales market, which is what we're going to do with this project. But as we proceed, we are working on a financial model where we can tie up with funds, and how do we create this entire thing as a lease model. So we make this as a very, very essential service, like Niranjan sir told in his conversation, right? We have to identify the needs and solve the problems. That is where the business opportunity grows multiple folds. So the need in senior living is making the entire process of living very, very easy. Whereas a lease model will make this entire process easy. So Elements is completely focused and determined to make this happen in India, which is a global norms across. So with promising the highest standard of living for seniors, highest quality of service, we also want to solve their problem of ownership and maintenance. So this is what Elements is going to commit, and we will be one step better than what we were in the current project in Hiranandani's Varagadam Parks. Thanks all. Any questions we are here to answer.